Now, Jeune is rolling in here. Now, watch this. Jeune rolling in. There's definitely contact there between Jeune and Pratara's Bay. Starstruck, you can see, flick the tail up, but she does flick her tail up quite often when she's hit with the stick. Now, you've got to bear in mind that Pratara's Bay has run second, Starstruck has run third, and Jeune has run fourth. Now, I would suggest that that's not going to really alter the race there, Jen.
Wouldn't have thought, but we'll have to leave that up to the stewards there, Pete, because it just seemed like one bump and not too much after that. But anyway, that's for the stewards to decide. That is
live in the stewards' room, and we're just about to find out what is going on here. There is a protest. It hasn't been announced as yet. I just wonder whether Wayne Harris just asked to see the film first and then was going to lodge a protest, and he might have decided against it. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we get correct weight here. They have blown the siren, which is something that they don't normally do.
But they haven't announced it, which is something they don't normally do too.
There's no announcement of the protest, so we'll just hang back here just for a moment. We'll take a break very shortly. There is a protest, fifth against third. Well, that is number 2, All Our Mob, against Starstruck. Well, that's interesting. It may very well have been that when Jeune rolled over onto Starstruck, that Starstruck has rolled over onto All Our Mob. Well, we'll find out more shortly. We're going to take a break. Back to Flemington very shortly with the wrap-up after race 6.
Sims. Welcome back to Flemington. A little bit dramatic today, of course, with the injury to Darren Gauci earlier in the day. Now a protest fifth against third, but we'll leave that for the moment because we can have the presentations for the winner. Let's go down to Richard Zachariah.
The Louis Vuitton McKinnon Stakes is normally won by a very good horse, and today I think we've seen a very, very good horse win it. Good luck to Bobby Thompson, because the horse has not had a great deal of luck. Our host for the McKinnon Stakes is VRC committee man, Mr. Keith Southwick, and from Louis Vuitton is its chief executive, Julia King.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Once again, on behalf of Louis Vuitton Australia, it is my great pleasure to congratulate the associates and Danewin on this great win in the Louis Vuitton McKinnon Stakes. This is our 6th year of association with the VRC, and I have to say to you, it's one of the most happy and joyous associations we have. This year seems to me to be even more perfect, if things can be more perfect. Not only do we have a perfect day, but I've never seen the gardens at Flemington look better. So I wish to congratulate the ground staff as well as the committee for this splendid occasion. First of all, I'd like to present the Louis Vuitton trophy to the winning owner, Mr. Chung.
Yes, and the presentation's going on now with the connections, happy connections of Danewin. And, of course, that mighty horse will be heading off to Japan along with Jeune for the Japan Cup later in the month. And you heard Bob Thompson say that made up in some ways for the disappointment of last week in the Cox Plate, where he was very, very badly checked at about the 400-metre mark as our Mosco was going back through the field. Well, the protest is fifth against third, and that is All Our Mob. You can see Darren Beedman there in the orange colours on the right, and Mark Miller is on the left now. It's at the 1700. Let's identify these horses. All Our Mob in the orange colours, about 6th on the rail, and Starstruck is on the outside of it at this stage. Now, Starstruck was pulling pretty hard. You've got Station Hand in front of Just Apollo, Danewin third, then Alcove. So there's Danewin there. That's Alcove behind it in the red cap. Then over on the rail is All Our Mob in the orange colours, and Starstruck on the outside of it as we roll the vision, and we'll see what happens here. We did notice a racing incident here when the race was on, and you can see All Our Mob just checked there. Starstruck was also checked, and it just looked as though, a bit to me, looking from side on, it's very hard to see, but it looked, Jen, to me, as though It's All in Fun might have just laid in a bit on Starstruck, which might have just come in a little bit on It's All Our Mob, but that's side on.
Well, that's the way it appears, and there you can see Gay Waterhouse. She won the Derby before, and now she's in the stewards' room.
It would be very unusual for a protest to be upheld with interference that far out from home, I would think.
It is quite unusual, but it has been done before, Pete. It's not impossible.
All right, well, you're watching the scenes in the stewards' room. They're watching the tapes from every imaginable angle, and we will have the result of the protest very shortly. In the meantime, we'll take a break on Derby Day on Network 10 around Australia. Flemington as Derby Day draws towards its close, but not without its share of drama. Elation about an hour ago for that lady, Gay Waterhouse, as Jen mentioned. Now she's involved in a protest. It is a minor protest, and it's by that man, Darren Beedman. Here's the head-on now, and again we'll identify these horses for you as we roll in slow motion. Station hand going across the outside in front of Danewin. Now that's all our mob, orange colours, and it's right on the right-hand side at the moment. Starstruck is in the mauve colours. Now you can see Starstruck is certainly being tied. The scene at Flemington draws towards its close, but not without its share of drama. Elation about an hour ago for that lady, Gay Waterhouse, as Jen mentioned. Now she's involved in a protest. It is a minor protest, and it's by that man, Darren Beedman. Here's the head-on now, and again we'll identify these horses for you as we roll in slow motion. Station hand going across the outside in front of Danewin. Now that's all our mob, orange colours, and it's right on the right-hand side at the moment. Starstruck is in the mauve colours. Now you can see Starstruck is certainly being tightened up there, and it's all our mob. Just lost its hind legs there for a moment. It's still in trouble there. Still in trouble, being forced towards the rail. And Starstruck was actually out 3 wide. It's All in Fun was in the middle. That's how hard it is to tell from the side on. And you can see it's All Our Mob certainly was, All Our Mob was tightened up on the fence there. It's All in Fun and Starstruck involved. They're back in the stewards' room now, so here we go.
And the protest has been dismissed and placing stand. 7, 5 and 10. The protest 5th against 3rd has been dismissed and placing stand on the McKinnon 7, 5 and 10.
Protest dismissed and correct weight, so the placing stand. So if you backed Starstruck for a place there, you're okay. So the numbers are 7, 5 and 10. Correct weight has been declared. Dan, here are the tapes.
Danewin, $2.30 and $1.30 officially. Protara's Bay at $3.30 and Starstruck holding on to 3rd placing, $2.60. The last 2 protests prior that Starstruck was in, she lost. Race to race double $5.20, the Quinella $30.50, the Exacta $39.40 and the Trifecta $402.40. And the numbers 7, 5 and 10, and with all clear on the 6th, the McKinnon Stakes.
Bit of watering going on the inside tracks. They did some watering here yesterday, Tim. They put 3 millimetres of watering down, and it has been an absolutely perfect surface for Derby Day, and I've got my fingers crossed that it's going to be exactly like this on Tuesday.
No problem, Pete. I've already had a word to Huey, the great god of the weather.
Thank you.
Via Tim Bailey, and it won't be a problem.
Tim's
tell you what,
got the direct line.
Yeah, he has. While you're still there, Danewin just quickly had some knockers, hasn't he? And he's had some very bad luck, but that was a sensational win. The knockers suggesting he didn't have much ticket.
Well, yeah, I think that was being a bit harsh. He's been a terrific horse at Wait for Age. He won the Caulfield Stakes. The thing about Danewin is, Tim, that, and Jen, I think you'll back me up on this, that he goes really hard for 100 metres and then he just keeps on grinding away at the same bat, but he's got an electrifying sprint when he wants him to.
Oh, he's a fabulous horse. I don't know, I'd be against the knockers, to be honest, because look what he's done. He's won 12 races now. He's really got a terrific record, and you've got to say he's going to be a chance in the Japan Cup.
Yes, well, Tim, if he does happen to win the Japan Cup, then the knockers will have to eat their words in no uncertain terms.
Yes, and I'll collect some money because I'll be on him in the Japan Cup if I can possibly do it. Incidentally, our fashion competition, we've got a bit distracted here lately with the protest. You've only got until 4:30 and...
Traditional gentleman's day at the races, but one thing's for sure, in the fashion stakes, the women have really given the men a run for their money. Here on Fashions in the Field, we've seen an array of beautiful pastels, as well as the Derby traditional black and white.
a fabulous, wonderful individual. Thank you. And remember, I've known you longer than your daughter.
Shampoo's all right for you, Pat. Lovely, sweetie. Should we finish off the balloon, or should we have some smoked salmon and nibbly things?
Or whatever, sweetie.
All right, we'll finish off the balloon.
Dolls stole this dance, beep, 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 bop, bop, bop. Dolls stole this dance, right on time, right on time.
Australian designer Tina Vargas as a judge in today's Fashions on the Field. What makes this outfit so special?
Well, the judging criteria was classic, wasn't it? And this is simply a very classic, beautiful suit. And may I say that it is wool, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Which is also wonderful. It's the simple lines, and I think dressing is about simplicity and about being able to put pieces in your wardrobe that work back. And I think your lines typify that, and I think that's possibly why all the judges, even though some of over-the-top outfits look fantastic, but the classic true pieces are really beautiful pieces that can work back. Oh, you've gone all monotone today, but I think you would get a lot of use out of your little suit, wouldn't you, with putting other colours back with it?
I certainly will. Let me quickly ask you, how much planning went into your outfit?
2 months. A whole 2 months. I sent basically my milliner and a few different companies, a bit crazy trying to match my colours, but it all succeeded and it certainly paid off.
Yes, very stylish, very beautiful, as usual on Derby Day. Of course, on Cup Day, you'll see everything from the stylish to the bizarre and sometimes quite ridiculous. We'll take a break from Flemington. You are watching Amy Victoria Derby Day. It's a carnival atmosphere here on Derby Day in Flemington. A lot of very happy, smiling people. I think that could be because a few of them have been in the money, I think. There's a lot of money around today and a lot of people winning great big handfuls of folding stuff, so they could be lashing out and buying some shampoos and sitting on the lawn and having a sip, and why not? You know, I was a bit concerned about us bringing Tim Bailey down here because, well, he has this habit, you see, of doing things that probably shouldn't, but all they'll tell me about this story is that it's to do with a delicate subject.
Now, the last time we were having a chin wag, we were talking about Flemington's famous roses. Now, the secret to the rose, well, it's very much on the nose. Come with me. Yes, folks, meet John, a very serious man. Not to put too fine a point on it, John, you scoop the poop.
Yes, that's right.
Don't you?
Yes.
Now, there's your enemy down there. Let's go and have a look at him. And I want to have a look at the form because it's a pretty important job, isn't it, John?
Yes, it's an important job.
Because we can't have people walking in that.
No.
Can we? So, give me a look. I'll do this one for you, if you don't mind. I'll do this one for you. Now, what do I have to do?
Yes, it's only 3
Oh, that?
Yes.
I tell you what, it's on the bugle, John, isn't it?
Yes.
How long have you been doing this for, mate?
I've been doing it for over 2 years.
Over 2 years, and you do all the race meetings, don't you?
All the race
because
meetings.
no matter a Melbourne Cup or a maiden, they all have to go to the toilet, don't they?
They do.
All right, mate. Well, listen, you have a great Cup carnival.
Thank you very much.
And I hope they're pretty well toilet trained for you.
Yes.
Back to you, Tim.
Thank you very much.
Nah, see, that wasn't a delicacy. It's terrific stuff. You mix it up with some refuse, throw it on the roses. Beautiful. Oh, dear. Flemington on Derby Day. Peter Donegan, I think you probably should take it away.
Yes, OK then, Tim, I will. And these runners are in the mounting yard for the 7th event, the Salinger Stakes, at 5 minutes after 4. That's the scheduled starting time. Great sprinters here. Always a wonderful race to look at, charging down the 1,200 metres. And this little horse, Poetic King, he's only pint-sized, but he had a life-threatening operation. He was 2 weeks away from dying, and then he came out and he won at Moonee Valley, and he ran a terrific third to Quality Gold. He's got a heart as big as himself, Jen.
Oh, yes, and he's also fitted for 2 runs too, Pete. Stepping up to the 1,200 metres, it does look like it's going to suit him. He goes extremely well down the straight. Good chance.
Racer's Edge is another one that goes well down the straight. In fact, won the Rupert Steele at its last start here in the last stride. And reminding you, there is a riding change here. W. Harris rides, De Gauci injured in the first race on the card.
Yes, well, this horse, he's got a terrific record at down the straight at Flemington. This horse, I really do think he'll go well here. Wayne Harris on board, he'll help him too. He's pretty fit. There's no fitness problems with him. Definite chance in the race.
Ruslan, number 4, ran 4th in this race race last year. I saw him at the track here the other morning. Gee, he looks well.
Yes, I thought he probably may have needed that run first up when he ran third. It was a good effort there, and he's probably too good to leave out if you're taking trifectas in this race.
Which spoke about horses, Jen, that love the straight and cut up rough, is certainly amongst them. He went up to 1,400 metres in the Vic Health and was nosed out by our Maze K. Not suited at the 1,600 of the Toorak, back to his pet distance here.
Well, he was very wide in the Toorak too, Pete, so that might have been an excuse, but back to this distance, it really does suit him. 6 starts before wins down the straight. Terrific chance in it.
Chief De Beers, number 6, with Mick Dittman aboard, chased home Moss Rocket in that blistering run at Caulfield and then finished well back behind Quality Gold.
Well, he did. He's quite a nice, handy horse, Chief De Beers. His very best form has been over 1,400 metres in the past. Back to 1,200 here, you've still probably got to leave him there with a chance because he has got some class about him.
Darren Beedman's had a couple of winners today. Number 14, Sword, is his mount here, trained by Jack Denham, and his sprinting form in Sydney, pretty good, including a win over Moss, or a second behind Moss Rocket, I should say, beating a length and a quarter in the shorts.
Nicely in here with 52 kilograms. He's a horse that likes to race up on the pace. He's going to give a nice sight for quite some way. Very consistent animal too, so good chance.
Just Awesome, number 15, flashed home at its last start at Caulfield. It was nearly last around the turn, flew home to finish second behind Petita Moore.
Absolutely. It was a good effort there. No luck 2 starts ago at Caulfield, so I'd forgive him for that. I think he's probably left there with a trifecta chance, Pete. I don't know if he can win this.
And the last one, trained by Grant Searle, Quality Gold. Gee, he was some sort of run in the Moira and Moonee Valley, Jen.
A terrific type, this horse, Quality Gold. I really do like him. He's only a 3-year-old, so he's taking on the older horses. Only 51.5 here. A pretty good chance in the race. You can't rule him out.
What did you like?
Well, I'm going for number 5, Cut Up Rough. I think he can win from the 3-year-old, number 16, Quality Gold. And for third, I'll put in the top weight, number 1, Poetic King.
Poetic King for me from Cut Up Rough. Ruslan a chance. There's Poetic King going up to the stalls. We'll be back to Flemington shortly for race 7, the Salinger Stakes. Salinger Stakes, and runners at the top of the famed Flemington Straight. Used to be called the Straight 6, now the Straight 1,200 metres. Quality Gold, that horse absolutely flashing home at the end of the Moir last week, and that's what's in front of them. That long way down the straight in front of a big crowd, probably around about the 50,000 mark, as we check the tote call now, and here's Dan.
Thanks, Pete. Wide open affair. Poetic King is just favourite, $7.30. Races Edge at $7.90 has gone for Bath on course. Ruslan $8.80, Cut Up Rough $7.50. Chief De Beers at $8.30. So there's a host of chances all around that $7 and $8 mark. Outside is Brawny Spirit, Tenor and Grand Bay. Raleen, half-brother to Brackenbury, $23.60. Social Rule, $22. Centile at $40. She races okay down the straight. Don Pasquale, $27. Sword at $8.30. Just Awesome at $16.40 and Quality Gold at $7.80. And they're filling the gates pretty well. They're the main ones that are in the betting, from about 6 to 1 to 8 to 1. To check out the scene with the bagman, here is Terry Kennedy.
Plenty of money down in the ring to say Poetic King, the top weight here, can get the money. No money at all for Races Edge. It has taken a massive bath in the betting.
Just Stakes, and one of the first out, Brawny Spirit from down near the inside. Don Pasquale jumped away well today. Races Edge and Sword a handy with Ruslan, and the rule coming down the flat side of the track. Tenor's the widest runner for the moment, but he's probably a bit worse than midfield, and Grand Bay is up and about 4th placing. Down towards the 900 metres point, and Races Edge, Brawny Spirit, Sword all up towards the lead. Wider out on the track was Grand Bay. Don Pasquale just behind that leading division. Chief De Beers is about 7th from Cut Up Rough. Then came Quality Gold, Tenor out very wide. Then Centile, Raleen, Kingston Bay back along the inside towards the tail of the field with Social Rule and Just Awesome. Running onto the course proper, 550 metres to go. Races Edge in front of Brawny Spirit, who's now about 8 away from the rail and wanting to drift away from the track. Grand Bay just behind those with Sword, Chief De Beers, Ruslan back to the inside. It's Races Edge, Brawny Spirit, Sword inside them. Grand Bay, Cut Up Rough running on Quality Gold, Chief De Beers, Ruslan, Races Edge in front. Off back on the inside, coming in at Sword. Brawny Spirit, Grand Bay down the outside. Sword getting through on the inside. Sword and Brawny Spirit and Sword. Brawny Spirit doing better. Brawny. Little Brawny Spirit's beaten Sword and Races Edge, Grand Bay fourth. Then came Kingston Bay and Ruslan. Poetic King next, and then cut up Rough and Raleen, followed by Centile and Chief De Beer, Social Rule, Don Pasquale, Quality Gold, and Tenors back at the tail of the field.
Well, what a great ride, Dan. If we get a head-on shot of this at the from the 400 metres, that horse wanted to shift out. Michael Clark had to keep nursing him, bringing him back, getting him back, and then the last little bit he was able to find the strength to get him back up and right on the line.
Approximately $34 even and $8.50 for Brawny Spirit, $3 even for Sword, and $2.90 for Races Edge. He drew barrier one, Gary Brawny Spirit, and he has got a tendency to do that. They put the blinkers on him last start, and it didn't seem to work, and they've reverted with the blinkers off today, and he's got the prize, there's no doubt about it. Number 7, Brawny Spirit, has nosed out Sword, and number 3, Races Edge, who probably looked the winner at the 400-metre point, just couldn't quite go on, but has been able to hang on to third. 7, 14 and 3.
Here we are, we have him married here. Brawny Spirit, he's racing about 6 or 7 off the fence here, and as you roll her on, you'll just see he starts to want to shift out a couple of times with Michael. He has to stop riding him, bring him back in. Just going to shift a little bit here. He's giving him one with the stick here. Just shift a bit. The one on the pink with the blinkers on is Sword, and Races Edge outside of him. But it's a great effort. He's only pony-sized, this horse, and he's given his all. He's just wanting to shift out again here. Straighten him up, put the whip away, ride him hands and heels. He'll go from him again just on the line to get him up. There he goes.
Races Edge ducked in under pressure there, made contact with Sword, but...
great effort, Dan.
He did fight back, didn't he, Brawny Spirit?
Yep.
He's the sort of horse that they're always catching him, and he hung on, but today he really had to lift again in the last 100, because without a doubt he was headed, undoubtedly, he was headed by Sword and Races Edge, and I know Michael Clark would be absolutely thrilled to bounce back into the Group 1 winners list. Good on you, Mick. Mick Clark, he's talking with Johnny Letts.
I can't catch up to him yet. He's a little bit fast for me, Brawny Spirit. We'll get him in a minute, fellas.
Right, here's another good hit on.
Brawny Spirit.
Again.
So Banjo's been put into near enough to a gallop.
He's put under a bit of pressure, I can tell you Banjo is.
You haven't got the stick on you, what we see, Letsy.
I said to Banjo, let Brawny Spirit lead you. He said, we'll do that. He said, I'll grab him the last 100 metres.
Good luck to you, mate. 7, 14 and 3. Fourth in number 9, Grand Bay, which was an excellent run. Now, a lot of people were doubting his ability to run 1200, so in Group 1 company, that's a terrific performance. Yes. And number 4, Ruslan, has wound up in 5th placing. But a Group 1 victory to Brawny Spirit. He was an Ascot Vale Stakes winner as a 3-year-old, trained by Mick Wicks at Flemington. He's only a pony, and what a tremendous thrill for Mick and the gang that own this horse, Brawny Spirit. Pete, remember the day he won his first race? It was about 250 to 1.
Yeah, and he's only pint-sized, but he's got a tremendous heart, and Mick Winks is down here now, and we'll have a chat to Mick. He doesn't know when he's beaten that horse.
He's a tough little customer, isn't he? Yeah.
He must have been headed 3 times.
Yes,
and he just keeps on coming back.
Well, Michael give him a couple around the tail there at the 400, I think, and by gee, put his mind on the job then.
Well, he's too quick for Johnny Letts. He just got away from him out there. Letts, he was trying to catch him.
Well, he's got no hope of catching him around the back there. He tried to take off with me this morning.
Really?
I got a bit of laryngitis, I'm sorry.
Oh, you probably got a bit more after that.
I'll have him fix it up in a minute.
Good on you, Mick. Yeah. A bit of liquid refreshment. Mick, he's just a terrific horse, though, despite his habit of running out a bit. Yeah. He's got such a huge heart.
Oh, well, he's racing against all the best horses, too, and he's only a little fella. You know, at 52 and a half on his back today, I thought it was great.
What now?
That's the lightest he's carried for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he's in a lift go, but I don't think he'll run. We might look after him for the autumn now.
Go and see if you can get rid of that laryngitis, Mick.
Oh, all right. Thanks very much, Pete.
Good on you, mate.
Bye.
Mick Winks, the winning trainer. And he is a courageous little racehorse, that fellow. Brawny Spirit, the winner of the Salinger Stakes. Second placing going to number 14, Sword, and third was number 3, Races Edge. Back to Flemington shortly with correct weight and all the dividends on race 7.
Welcome back to Flemington. Closing stages of Derby Day for 1995, and a great day it's been, and as usual, quality of the racing has been absolutely outstanding. Winner of the Salinger, Brawny Spirit. Sensational little run that was. All right, we await presentations. We also await correct weight too from Mr. Lawler. We'll make sure we've got that. We'll get Danny to pay you some money, and then we'll go back to the members for the presentations. And I think Mr. Lawler was going to identify to us that he's pretty happy.
4 and 2. Correct weight, thank you.
There it is, and thank you, Mr. Lawler. Okay, Danny Malecki, dividends, please.
Some pretty big dividends all up too, Tim. Brawny Spirit, $34.60 for the win and $8.50 for the place. Second Sword, $2.90, and third Racer's Edge, $2.90. Quinella, $135.90. Exacta, $372.50. The Trifecta, $3,188.50. Racer Race Double, $109.70 on a pair of sevens. The Daily Double, $142.40 on 3 and 7. And the Quadrella, $1,666.40. Numbers were 5, 3, 7, 7.
Good thing I'm good divvies indeed, and that is for sure. If you're on Brawny Spirit, all the best to you. They're right for the presentations in front of the members. Here's Richard Zachariah.
The Salinger Stakes keeps alive the great dream in Australian racing that everybody can own and train a Group 1 winner. And Mick Winks, trainer today, and the owners, congratulations to them. A great effort. The Salinger Stakes, of course, is sponsored by South Corp Wines. And before calling Mr. Neil Grant, their general manager, can I introduce to you the VRC committee man, Mr. Andrew Ramsden, who is hosting this race. Andrew, thank you. Mr. Neil Grant, the general manager of South Corp Wines in Victoria and in Tasmania.
Thank you very much, Richard. Ladies and gentlemen, may I first thank the VRC for making it possible for Seppelt Salinger to be part of the best days racing in Australia. Seppelt, through its sparkling wine brands, has enjoyed a long association with the Victorian Racing Club, and on course all year round we can celebrate with Seppelt sparkling wines. Salinger, a sparkling wine created at the home of Seppelt in Victoria, is very proud to sponsor today's race, the premier sprint race of the Carnival. The Seppelt sparkling wine portfolio is Australia's most loved. From Great Western to Salinger, Australia's premier method Champenois wine, like today's winner, has seen success. It was a great run from Brawny Spirit. And Salinger has been awarded Sparkling Wine of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd now very much like to congratulate a very excited Mick Winks and also Michael Clark on a great ride, but most of all Brawny Spirit on a most deserved win. I now take very great pleasure in inviting Mrs. Terry Toy to accept the 1995 trophy. Thank you very much.
Yes, and thank you. Yes, we tend to forget the horses sometimes. There's so many important people around during Melbourne Cup week, we forget them. Of course, that's what we're here for. And a good win from Brawny Spirit there. Well, one more race to go on the program today, the Crown Quality, and Peter Donegan, yet again, another pointer to Tuesday's big race.
Yes, it is, and one more pointer we can give you, Tim. Unfortunately, is one that we'd prefer not to give you, and that is news about Protara's Bay, which ran second in the Louis Vuitton McKinnon Stakes. Unfortunately, he bled during that race, and he will not start in the Melbourne Cup, so that's bad news for Gai.
It's a real shame, Pete, because Protara's Bay had been going so very well leading up to the Melbourne Cup. An absolute shame for Connections there. Highs
and lows of racing, you know, you win the Derby and all of a sudden you lose a Cup horse.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, devastating for the owners.
Well, Protara's Bay is out, but Nothing Like a Dane, of course, is in to the Cup field. They'll pay the $40,000 late entrance fee, and we'll be watching him going around on Tuesday, as we will many of these horses, Jen, in the Crown Quality, the last race on the card. And before we get your selection, let's go to Dan and check out the tote call on the final event.
Crown Quality is the last event, and it's the smallest Crown Quality field we've had since 1984 when Darren Gauci won on Chagamar. Unsold $11.50, $4.84 electronic from the Gay Waterhouse stable, Shane Dyer board, $4.80 and $2. Darcher $11.20, the Sydney Cup winner. The Brisbane Cup winner, $14.30, Desert Chill. Gossips, $5.20. Second in the Newcastle Cup this year, Sir Kingy, $24. McDrury at $12.30. Section at $8.20. Runner-up in the Geelong Cup, Coachwood, $12 even. Placed in 3 country cups, Benalla, Geelong and Werribee, and Dupain at $5 and $1.90. So a pretty open affair. Not a lot from top to bottom. Your rank outsider at this stage is only around the $22 mark, that being Sir Kingy. So an open event for the last event. Overall, it's probably been a good day for the punters, particularly in the betting ring, Terry Kennedy, except for that last. So I'm sure the bookies would have got some respite from that.
Yeah, the bookmakers have had a couple of races, whether